So the first step again is the lead. You're going to qualify the lead before you do the buyer consult. So whether it's a family member, friend, a referral from that, or a call on your sign or a cold call, you're going to ask 5 questions to start off the conversation. One is going to be, hey, Mike, I'm calling in reference to 1-2-3-4 Main Street. What is the sales price? Oh, okay, 1-2-3-4 Main Street. Regardless of what you're doing, you could have the information put up there. You want to create a dialogue. So even if you have the information in front of you, you're basically going to say, yes, I know that property. Give me 1 second. I got to go into that screen. By the way, what attracted you to that area? Are you focused on that area? What's the main attraction to that area? Oh, my mom lives in that area. That's the area I want to live in. Is this the area you want to reside? Whatever. You want to basically get a feeling of the area. Now, it doesn't have to be etched in stone, but you're trying to create that warmness feeling that, bring those firewall down kind of like answers. You want them to be open with you. So the next question, give them the price. Yes, this house on 1-2-3-4 Main Street, it's going for $150,000. Do not say, is this what you're pre-approved for? If you do, that it seems kind of, questioning their finances or their credit history. You basically want to say it's going for $150,000. Is this what you want to spend on a house? Again, you're putting the driver's seat, putting them in the driver's seat. Yeah, you know what? This is what I want to spend on a house. I'm actually pre-approved up to $175,000. Oh, great, because that goes into the next question. Who did you get pre-approved with? Or have you been talking to a loan officer? Not what are you pre-approved for, but who have you been talking to? So then the question after that is, are you currently working with an agent? That's number 4. Number 5, Jim, I understand you were talking about 1-2-3-4 Main Street, and I just wanted to see if this house met all your needs. When's the soonest you're looking to put an offer in? He's like, Mike, if I find the right property, I'm ready to do it now. Well, you know what, Mike? I'm in this lease until about December, but I want to start looking. So this way I'm ready to, after leaving that lease, I want to get into that. I want to, buy a house. So those 5 questions are going to create a dialogue for you and help you out for your buyer consult. So then you set it up. Great, Steve. I can't wait to meet you. When can you come in for a buyer consult? Tomorrow at 5 or Thursday at 2? Set up the appointment. Do I need to bring anything, Mike? No, you've already been pre-approved. I'm going to reach out to your loan officer ahead of time just to, get them prepared. So you want to get an idea from the loan officer of, hey, is this a verbal? So right after I get off the phone with Jim, he's going to be sending me over the pre-qual. Once I get the pre-qual, I'm calling Patty at the bank and saying, hey, Patty, I got Jim here. He's looking to buy a house. How's he looking? He's like, yeah, he's got pre-approved. Okay, great. Did you do a verbal? Or did he send in the documents? But you're probably saying, what documents do they need? Bank statements, pay stubs, W-2 forms. Why do you think we request that information? Or the mortgage company? Anybody know?
So it's more accurate. It's not just people could lie. Oh yeah, make $300,000 a year.
It's more accurate. The banks want consistency. So 2-year signed bank returns, that means you filed that way. They know exactly how much money you're making. So when it comes to a verbal, oh yeah, I paid $200,000 last year, and all of a sudden you get the bank tax. Oh, you only claimed $150 to the bank. Let's see the last 5 bank state or the last 2 bank statements. The reason for that is because they want to see if there's any inconsistencies. So if Jack, if you're direct deposit, you get your check every single week, and all of a sudden you see a $5,000 deposit on the 10th and a $15,000 withdrawal on the 20th, and then another $5,000 deposit on the 18th. It's going to bring up some kind of red flags, right? It's inconsistent.
Yeah, it just looks inconsistent.
Exactly, and that's what they're saying. There's really nothing wrong with that, but now you got to break it down. Now you got to say why I put that money in there.
Paper trail.
Got it.
Exactly, a paper trail. And then the last thing is the pay stubs. Yeah, I make $18 an hour. Now you're part-time. You only make $17 an hour, and instead of 40 hours in overtime, your last 2 pay stubs have you at 34 hours. So this can actually throw an underwriter in a frenzy because of that stuff, and that's why they want that information. So I also asked them for a good faith estimate. Kelly, what's a good faith estimate?
She told me she had to take a call real quick.
Oh, she did? Okay. How about you, Paul? What's a good faith estimate?
The good faith estimate is basically a breakdown of everything from the charges, right?
That's correct. So back in the 08, 06 area, mortgage companies did not have to provide a good faith estimate. We require them now because they can put whatever they want on there. So in the initial meeting with the client, it could only be like maybe 3,000, 4,000 in closing costs, but all of a sudden we're at settlement and it's 9,000 in closing costs. They have to provide an upfront document that they're told that this is an estimate. We don't have a property for you. But in the meantime, I want the good faith estimate because I want the list of charges because I have to create a good faith. I have to create an estimate of closing cost charges. But I can't do that because 60% of the charges are going to come from the mortgage company. So as a reference, give them an address from the 5 questions you have. Give them an address, give them the taxes, pick a property. I don't care what property. Give them a settlement date and give them $1,000 in homeowners, and they'll be able to give you your good faith estimate. By you getting that good faith estimate, now you can create a closing cost sheet based on your needs because you now have the time to go through and mess around with everything. Okay, so we got our scenario. I'm going to share my screen now. We're going to pick an existing client that we already have in the system. Stop recording, share screen. There we go. There's there. All right. All righty. Let's get on break. All right. Ken's going to not be nice enough. He's going to be the buyer. He was already instructed to throw a couple wrenches into the program. All right. So who knows the 3 categories we're supposed to go over in the buyer consult?
What their dream house looks like, the process of.
Am I losing you guys again?
No, can you hear Paul?
No.
He's like a little groggle.
Can you hear me now?
I got you.
The first thing is going to be what their dream house looks like. The second is the process of. No.
First part is a dream house. Second is I'm going to take the highest price property in that dream house and financially qualify them. After that, they go into the real estate process from A to Z. A to Z means from showing the house.
I have the second and third one flip-flopped.
But if you do that, you're going to have a very smooth transaction because it's from A to Z through the whole thing. So we're going to go into it. Ken's meeting me at the door, and we're going to now. There's going to be times where I might break out of this, but as of right now, everybody can see my screen, right?
Yep.
So beforehand, Ken's meeting me. I already have the prospect account based on the information. So even though I'm asking those 5 questions, I'm going to keep that buyer on the phone to ask them, hey, what does your property look like? You know, just to get a ballpark idea. So this way, when they come in, this is a draft. So he's able to change this, but what I'm trying to do is etch this in stone a little bit. I want to make sure that the questions that I asked him on Monday are going to be the same answers that I'm getting today. Okay. Hey, Ken, how you doing?
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Good, good. Come on in. Let's sit down, and we're going to go over a couple things today.
Okay, sounds good.
Do you have any questions for me before we start?
No, did you get the information from my lender? Or?
I did. Patty's a great lady. She's been doing this probably about for 10 to 15 years now. She says you're a great client of hers. You've been banking there for 8 years. And she's like, you're good to go. That's awesome. Any other questions?
No, just, I'm sure I'll have some as the process goes along.
All right, cool. I just want to go over the answers from our questions a couple of days ago. You said that you were looking in the Cinnaminson, Delanco area. You're looking to stay under 220,000 because you have a monthly budget. The reason why you're moving in that area is because you want to take advantage of the school system, be close to the bridges, be close to Philadelphia, but you want something that's like kind of move-in condition. I've already talked to Patty, and you're not working with a real estate agent. And if we find you the right house that meets all your criteria, you're willing to pull the trigger probably within the next 30 days. You just got to get your house on the market. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just got to get that up on the market.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So before I start sending you properties, I want to go over this real quick. You're still interested in Cinnaminson, Delanco, Delran, Palmyra, Riverton, Collingswood, Merchantville, and Pensacola, correct?
Yeah, those areas are still good. Yep.
Okay, good. I'm gonna punch this up on a map real quick. I just want to make sure we're not leaving anything out. So this is a map of all the areas, and you see it's close to the water line here. Is this what you're looking for?
Yeah, just don't want anything with flood insurance.
Yeah, right. No flood insurance, right? Yeah, you don't want any boat docks or anything like that. Awesome. Good stuff. All right. I'm going to pause here for a second. There's other ways you can search for properties as well. Like I said before, you can go into the match. They can say, hey, Mike, I want to be around this property in a certain area, or a subdivision. You can put a subdivision in here. So there's all different ways, stuff that you can put in here. You can do zip codes, blah, 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 and go in from there. Okay, great. So we're going to be looking under 220,000. We want to stay in that monthly price range. You're still looking for 3+ bedrooms, and you need at least 1.5 bathrooms. That's still correct?
Yeah, I mean, if I can get more bathrooms, the better. But yeah, 1.5 at the minimum.
Oh, yeah. Well, we put the minimum, but we're going to be shooting for like 2 or 3 just to make sure. But we just want to make sure we have the minimum in there. And you only want a single or a twin, correct?
Yes,
Preferably the single.
absolutely.
And that's basically all we have on here. Now, side note, you guys can put whatever you want in here. Just be very aware of the amount of properties you have down here. So I have a client, when I did a buyer consult, not only did they want everything that we just talked about, but they wanted a basement, they wanted a garage, they wanted central air, so that's going to reduce your number. But if they're adamant on that, then you do what they say. They're your client. But every day you're supposed to be sending them properties. So some people like to do the set it and forget it. Everybody hear about that? You know he passed away yesterday, right? The set it and forget it guy.
No.
Shame. Anyway, he was like one of the first. What do they call them? What do they call them guys on TV? I know they have a special name for them, not front men's, but
Infomercial, hype man. I don't know.
yeah, they have a special name. I can't think of it. Anyway, so everybody likes to do the set it and forget it. Put their stuff in there and let the computer send it out when it comes out. I like a little hands-on. So I have no problem with the set it, forget it, but I also want to look at the properties because I can also tweak this. If I set it and forget it, guess what I'm going to do sometimes? I'm going to forget about it. I'm going to forget on Tuesday. I'm going to forget on Wednesday. But you know who's not forgetting? The buyer. The buyer's on other sites or on other apps. So what I like doing is I like playing with this. So if they wanted a fireplace or a basement, I'm going to say, okay, these are the ones without fireplaces. And let's say 6 of them pop up and they were really nice properties. But he was kind of on the fence about a fireplace, but he really wants one. I might say, hey, Jim, look at these 6 properties. However, these do not have fireplaces. Please keep that in mind. Believe it or not, these buyers are liars. They'll take that property. You know what? I'll settle on that property. Another thing, what I also like to do is I like to tweak the sales price a little bit, depending on what the market we're in. I might bump that up 5,000 or 10,000 or and then that's about it on that. So anybody have any questions so far of what we've done on the prospect? All right, we're going to get back in the dialogue. So I'm like, okay, Ken, we got 14 properties. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to set these up for you. All right. I'm going to set them up what's called a prospect account, and I'm going to send them out to you. So when you create a prospect account, you're going to hit save. You're going to hit new search. Now, most likely you're already going to create an account for them. If you haven't, you're going to go in here, create account, put their name, first name, last name, email address. Once all that comes up, you can hit save. Anybody have any questions on that? All right, so you hit cancel. We're going to go back in. So after I created the account for this person, you're going to go in, you're going to check all the properties, and you're going to say, hey, Ken, I want you to do me a favor, check your phone. I'm going to send these to you. His information is already going to pop up. You're going to put Keller Williams in here, and then you're going to hit send. All of a sudden, ding, you get Ken.
Ding, got it.
Awesome, awesome. Can you do me a favor, just open that real quick?
Sure.
So I set you up with what's called a prospect account. This prospect account allows you now to have access to my MLS system. So it's good that you can go on the Zillow and all those other sites, but you're going to get the most accurate information from my MLS. The reason for this is because those other sites, Zillow and all that, they get the information from us. It's like a drip campaign. As soon as we put it in, it drips into everything else. So if you don't see it on our site, it's probably because the criteria is not matching up, like when you go on the Zillow. So you told me I need a house that has at least 2 bathrooms. Zillow's not going to give you that. So just be careful when you're on that site, but send me whatever properties interest you in the meantime, and I'll look them up for you. All right. You also have access to our icons. There's going to be a heart, which means as Mike, that's it, spot on. That's the one I want to see. A light bulb. Mike, you know what? I'm interested in it. Just a little bit too small, or you know what? I'm iffy about it. We put it on the fence. And then there's the other one, the trash can. Be very careful using the trash can, because once you send me the trash can, I can't send you any updates on this property. We get updates of price range or price changes, new pictures. If it fell off the market, came back on the market, they got it under contract, fell through, now it's back on the market, you're not going to get any of those updates. So you can either leave them blank or use the icons. The only thing is just be very careful using the trash can one.
Sounds good.
Questions on that? Okay, great. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the highest price property we have here. So what you're going to do, on a side note, what you're going to do, you're going to pick any property, could be the 220, and what you're going to do is you're going to see where it says BS or B $ and S $? That stands for closing costs. So I want the buyer closing cost. Now you're already going to have.
It didn't switch yet.
What do you mean it didn't switch yet?
Oh, you're over there. Never mind. I got to move like people.
No problem. So I'm going to hit buyer closing cost, and that's how you get into the screen. Okay. But here's the thing. If you've already got the closing cost sheet, you're already going to have this saved. Okay. So what you're going to do is when you go into that screen, when you're leaving the prospect account, you're going to go into financial. You're going to go into buyer closing cost. And you're going to go into load. We don't have Fernandez. We're going to take Jorge. You want to do Jorge or you want to do Jamelia Johnson?
I don't care. Whatever you want.
Do Jorge. So you're going to click edit. Now, does anybody have any questions about putting a GFE closing cost into this? Does everybody know what they're doing? Okay. All right. Perfect. So we're going to go over line for line. Okay, we took this property, and this is in your price range, 375. Settlement date, we're just going to update that settlement date since we passed it. Interest rate, what they have on their pre-approval. Did I miss the settlement date? Oh, settlement date. So yeah, I already did that. Okay. No seller's assist. Type of loan, they're going for a VA. They're putting 20% down. And then any fees that the mortgage companies put in here, you're going to already have in there. So then what you're going to do is once everything's in there, you're going to hit preview. You're going to go over their closing costs, but the most important thing is you want to validate that Ken. All right, so going over the closing cost sheet, I put your closing costs from the mortgage company into the system, and it looks like your monthly payment's going to be $1,651 a month. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine. It's a good number.
Awesome. So without any help with your mortgages that you're going to get, you're going to need at the table $87,893.05. Do you have that in your account?
I will once I sell my property, I believe.
Awesome. Awesome. So that should also be a question for you guys. If somebody says, yeah, once I sell my property, oh, you have a property to sell. That's, so you want to make your offers contingent upon that property settling. But he's okay with that. But Ken, do me a favor. Tell me that either the mortgage payment's too high or the amount to the table's a little too high for you.
Yeah, I think after even I sell my house, Mike, I'll probably only have close to like 75,000. I don't think I'll have the total 88. So
75. So let's look at that. So we're not going to have the 88.7. I'm sorry, the 87,000. So we're going to revise this a little bit. So we're probably looking at about $12,000 difference. So we can either do this one of two ways. We can go over here and instead of offering 375, we can offer 363. Now, if you look at your cheat sheet over here, you don't have to keep hitting preview. Okay. That didn't change it that much, did it?
Yeah, not much.
We were 87,000, right, guys?
Yeah.
That can't be
It
right.
went down like 2,000.
Were we at 365?
We were at 375, I thought.
We were at 375, right?
That's what I thought, yeah.
Just make sure. That didn't change.
The mortgage went down. It was 1650.
Yeah, hold on for a second. That's weird. Guys. Take it down to 350, see what that does.
$82.
Yeah, so something's off here. Why is that only taking that much off?
Is it because it's VA, Mike, and it's 100% financing?
Yeah, let me try Jamil's. I want to try Jamil's.
JJ in the house.
All right, here we go. So Jamil's going for 265,000. Estimated cash for her needed to close is 35,000. Change that. So let's just say she needs some help there. She only has about 25,000 in the bank. So we're going to take that 265, make it to 255. It's not calculating the mortgage. That's what it is. I think it's because we have it saved. Down payment 20%. That's what it's doing. 20,000. Didn't change that amount at all. I don't know why this is not doing it. I guess I got to go back to the old school way. All right, so, all right, save searches. Let's do it this way. All right, where's my 220,000? There we go. Buyer's closing cost. All right, so you're actually going to get a good learning lesson here. We're going to hit each one. Selling date, you want to do anywhere from 35 to 45 days. Rule of thumb is you want to do a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday in case your deal gets bumped. So it's only going to get bumped to Friday rather than scheduling it for Friday and get it bumped to Monday. You're going to piss a lot of buyers off. So do stuff someday during the week. Interest rate, we're going to do 3%. School district, you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. But that should have auto-populated. Up. Earnest deposit, don't care about right now. We're going to go FHA, first time home buyer. All right, that's all good there. Mortgage origination fee. Appraisal is going to be $450. If anybody has any questions on any of these charges, let me know while I'm typing them in there. No transfer tax. She's a buyer in Jersey. Deed recording. Does everybody know what the difference between a deed recording and a mortgage recording is? And why am I doing unpaid for homeowners insurance?
Because it's not prepaid.
It's not you don't know what it's going to be. They can
Yeah,
shop around.
quoted differently.
Yeah, and plus, if you're going for seller's assist, you want the seller to pay for it, you know. All right, and then the inspections we're not going to put in there. All right, perfect. I think I have everything. All right, so then I now can go into preview. All right, so Ken, to buy this property, are you okay with a monthly payment of $1,594 and coming to the table with $14,168?
$60,000 cheaper. I'll take it. Yeah, those numbers work for me. Yeah.
All right, but let's say Ken only has 12 in the bank and he's not going to have that until for 30 days. But I need to bring that down. I need to bring the 14 to 12. So that's easy. You go back in the revise. Rule of thumb, every 10,000 you bring it, the sales price down is how much in monthly dollars, guys, and monthly payment wise?
40 to
bucks.
50 bucks.
About 40, 50 bucks, right? So I'm going to take this 220. I'm going to take this 220. Man, you guys are a pain in my ass. Adjust manually. All right, here we go. 210. I'm going to take it down 10,000 because Ken wants it down 10,000. So we already knew what the amount was before. It was $14,000. So as soon as I click out, what the hell?
It went.
All right, went a little bit. Okay. So you're going to titrate that to about how much you want to take it down. All right. But it changed your monthly payment. So your monthly payment was at $1,596. So in case you needed to do that. But let's say I want this down, okay? By lowering the sales price, you're better off keeping the sales price at the full amount, 220, and going over to the seller's assist and asking for $10,000. Does this make any difference to the seller?
No.
So this is what you're going to need at the table, $4,000. What were we going to need before? 14,000. Doesn't change your monthly payment. Your monthly payment's still $1,594. So if you have that client that's able to do the monthly payment and you're thinking that, hey, this house is overpriced anyway, don't lower the sales price. Give them what they want. Make them feel like the seller side is winning, but then hit them with a seller's assist. Now, is this going to be common in this market? Probably not for another 3-4 months, maybe after Christmas. But this is a tool that you could show your buyers when you're doing their closing cost sheet. Now, let's say me and Ken were looking at in a property in Bucks County and he wanted 10,000 off, or he needed 10,000 seller's assist. What's my rule of thumb in that area? I got to go over asking and then ask for the seller's assist because that market's hot. People are bidding over. So if a property is going to be on the market for 240, I'm going to offer 260 and ask for a $5,000 or $10,000 back. Rather than if it's on the market for 240, I'm not saying 240 and give me 10 back. You're going to get beat out. So certain markets you might be able to get away with that, like in Philadelphia, some areas in Mayfair, some areas in Jersey, like Palmyra, Pennsauken, and all that other good stuff. All right. Now you need to be able to describe a closing cost sheet. So Ken, let's go back into roll. All right, Ken, I'm going to go over your closing cost sheet with you. You have it in front of you. So when we're at this buyer consult, I printed him one and I have one, either that or I'm looking at the screen. Okay. So when they're looking at the sheet, you're going to go through. So the first paragraph, Ken,
Yes.
this is the property we're putting the offer in. This is the area. This is the county. This is the type of loan. You're going to go for an FHA 30-year fixed at 3% interest rate. We have a projected settlement date sometime in October. This is what we're offering for the property. This is what your down payment to the mortgage company is. This is going to be your base mortgage, and your mortgage insurance is going to get financed into that. Any questions?
No, I understand that part.
Awesome. The next section here is your closing costs. This is all from your mortgage company, and also it pertains to you buying a house. They are charging you an application fee of $995. They're going to be charging you $450 for an appraisal, a credit report of $25. The mortgage insurance that's going to get financed, they have to bill you first. That's going to be $37.15. And then there's a documentation preparation fee, an underwriting fee, and also a flood cert. Because we're not settling at the end of the month, there's a couple days they're going to charge you interest ahead of time. If you don't mind, I gave you a pen. Can you circle this number? That's $55.97. Next comes your title insurance. The title company has to search the property, they have to search you, and they have to search the seller to make sure there's no liens, judgments, or encumbrances on the property. Once that happens, they're able now to put the lien from the mortgage on there. It is based on sales price. So the title company will be charging you for the policy $11.28. Can you do me a favor and circle that?
What's it mean by enhanced?
That's a great question. So up to about 5 years ago, the title company on a common search only searched from the day of settlement back to the previous owner. What the enhanced version is, for a couple dollars more, it now protects you going forward. Now, that doesn't mean that you can go out to Macy's and run up your credit card to $5,000 and not pay it. And then when a judgment gets put on there, the title company has to take care of it. No, no. What this is protecting you, in the last 5 years, we've had quite a few people go down to public records, take a deed, copy it, sell it online. But that, if somebody were to do that, guess what happens? You now have to get an attorney to get all that rectified. And that can run anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000. If anything happens like that, fraud on your property that you did not have anything to do with, the title company has to pay for it scot-free.
Oh, wow, that's pretty good.
It is pretty good. It's a little safety net feature. You pay it once and it's done, and it covers you for the next 20, 30, however you own the property. All right, now we're going to go into the other fees that pertain to you buying a house. First is going to be the deed recording fee and a mortgage recording fee. The title company is going to charge you a recording fee to record the deed with your signature on it that's saying that, hey, world, I own this property. The second one is the mortgage company is going to be recording a lien on that deed. So this way, when you decide to sell the property, that title company is going to know that there's a mortgage on that property. You're going to get charged a notary fee. And you also have a cheap insurance policy. That should be $1,000. But yeah, your policy is going to be $1,000. And then you can go into the home inspections of why they're not on there, because you're going to be paying them up front. And if there's any other costs, like if there's a condo moving fee, capitalization fee, and all that. So at the end, these closing cost charges are going to run you $425. Can you circle that for me?
Yep.
All right. So do you see that 7151 there?
Yes.
That is the total amount of 1, 2, and 3. That is your total closing cost. The reason I want to point this out is because these are tax deductible. So if you are looking for more deductions, these are the items that you want to give your CPA, and they're going to know where to look for them as well. But if you're looking for extra tax deductions, that's them right there. Now come your settlement closing cost. So remember that number now, 7151. Ken, do you know what an escrow account is?
I've heard of it, but I don't really understand it.
Okay. An escrow account is basically the mortgage company telling you, we don't trust you. So we don't trust you with our money and the property by yourself. So you're thinking that if something happens to the property, the mortgage company is going to take over, correct?
You would think.
Right. But there's also a couple of ways where people can kick the mortgage company to the side. So the first one we're going to look at is your county tax, your municipal tax, and your school tax. Your township where you live is in charge of paying these taxes and receiving these taxes. Okay. So if you don't make your tax payment, if the mortgage company says, you know what, Ken, we trust you, you make your tax payment. We'll say, hey, I'm going to the casino, got everything on red, came up black. You know what? Nobody's getting paid. Well, if the township doesn't receive your tax check, they can actually put a lien on you. They can actually take the property from you, sell it as a tax lien sale, and then kick the mortgage company to the side. Now, when it goes to settlement, the tax lien gets paid first, but the mortgage company gets the leftover. So the mortgage company's like, oh, you know what? We're going to pay it ahead of time. Not only that, we're going to bill you maybe for a year up front, but we want at least 13 months up front. Or if it's in the counties, they might want a couple quarters. So whether they take the first quarter, second quarter, we want a reserve. So just to make sure the taxes are paid. So when that tax bill comes in, you're actually getting mailed a copy of it, but the actual bill goes to the mortgage company because they're the ones that are going to be paying it. So the second one is the homeowner's insurance. Ken, you know what? We trust you. You can pay your own home insurance. Great. You know what? Went to the casino, bet black this time, came out red. No good. I'm a smoker, by the way. Fall asleep, cigarette hits the floor, woof, all up. You got nothing but ashes. Mortgage company can't sell the property because it's all ashes. So they're like, okay, we're going to bill you up front, and then we're also going to collect an escrow. I'm like, okay, so we don't trust me on that one either. Mortgage insurance, definitely. They want to make sure, and I told you before, mortgage insurance is a total scam. They're making you pay for it, but the beneficiary is the mortgage company. So they want to definitely make sure that's paid for. Now, there are question marks around the homeowners association and the condo association. Condo association, I consider the shark. Homeowners association is a whale. So even though whales got some power, they're out there. Both of these guys, if those associations are not paid, they'll come after you. But as you know, the whale is big, but it's slow. So it's like, look, pay me when you can, whatever, but we are first lien holder. The shark, on the other hand, you don't want to piss off an association. You're late on them, they'll take your parking spot. And if you decide to park in your parking spot, they'll have it towed. They can actually kick the mortgage company to the side, do whatever they want with it, but they can rent it out while there's still a mortgage on there. So mortgage company will want to make sure that these guys are paid. So sometimes they put it in the escrow, but most of the time they trust everybody. But they also let the homeowners association know that there is a mortgage on the property. So let's take a look at this monthly payment here. You see this 910, Ken?
Yep.
Principal and interest. You're actually paying that currently for your monthly payment. So when you buy the house, your first payment's going to be due in September. That 910 is actually going to go to principal and interest for that month and this year. Everything else on here, your real estate taxes, your homeowners, your mortgage insurance, and if there's a condo fee, guess where that money goes?
Escrow?
It goes in your escrow because you've already been paid up. The reason for this is because that's going to build up, build up, build up. So when that homeowners comes in at $1,200, guess what? Mortgage company now has the money to pay for it, and boom, it goes out. Okay, so that's your escrow account. Now, the one good thing about the escrow account, they can't charge you any interest. Sometimes they do give you interest, but most of the time they set it up for free for you. So that total amount that they're going to bill you ahead of time is for $1,892.93. Everybody see that? All right, we're going to circle that. And then we're going to go into buyer reimbursements to seller. Well, why am I reimbursing the seller? What do I need to reimburse the seller for? Anybody?
Prepaid taxes and stuff.
Prepaid taxes and stuff.
Prepaid taxes in Philadelphia. If you purchase a house, you have to pay your taxes from January to December. If you're in the counties, you pay that quarter, so you get what's back. You don't get a free ride. You have to pay your own taxes, so you got to reimburse the seller. Same thing with the condo association. If you're halfway there, if you're at the 15th, but your bill's due on the 1st, you get 15 days back. Kelly experienced something like this before with we had to do rent backs, with leases and stuff like that. They got so much back in rental income, and they also got the security deposits and stuff like that. So all that's added in there. All right, cliff note time. We're going to do the transaction summary. This is what you paid for the house, $220. This is your closing cost, $71.51, which we had circled. Your escrow account, $18.92. The reimbursement to seller, $11.39. Total amount you're paying for the house is $230,000, $183. What you see in the parentheses and the credits are your credits, like your mortgages. So the mortgage company is going to give you a base mortgage of $212,300. Your mortgage insurance is being financed at $3,715. And then we're also going to be getting a seller's assist, which takes everything down to $41.68. Now you are going to have some prepaid services like your appraisal and something else. So at the table, you're going to need $2,723.52. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
All right, guys, that's how you properly do a closing cost sheet. Is there any questions on that? I'm not expecting everyone to repeat exactly what I said, but at least if there's any questions, I can answer for them. But this is going to come to you by repetition. You just got to keep doing this, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. Okay. The one good thing about when you do the buyer consult, you want the seller's not approval, but you want them to have confidence in you. So if you can look at that GFE, if you can explain anything on here like it was normal, they're going to feel confident in it. But if you look at something and say, oh, wait a minute, I don't remember that, or I don't know this, keep that comment to yourself. But if there is a red flag, let them know. But you are the expert here. You can't be looking at this and saying, you know what, I really don't know what that's for. That's been on here for a while, but I don't know what that doesn't sound like you're an expert to me. So that's why it's important to know these fees. In general, a lot of these fees are preset in here by Bright. You have the ability to change them. But the biggest learning curve for me was learning the good faith estimate, what's a legitimate charge, what's a bogus charge, stuff like that. The most important thing at the end of the day, when this buyer's mind is fried and it's getting there, like in reference to an egg, when we did the property search, it was probably just thrown on there. Right now, that egg is sizzling because you just threw them a bunch of numbers. You're going over, but the most important thing is you want to cover that monthly payment and also what they need at the table. The good thing about the real estate experience part of it, now they can cool down a little bit, okay? This is the biggest hurdle for real estate agents because this is going to save you a lot of time in the field. So instead of showing 8 properties, you're only going to be showing 4. And instead of going out there 5 times, you're only going to go out there once or twice, and then you're writing an offer. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right. So Ken, we're okay with this. Do me a favor. This is just an estimate. Can you just either initial that and date it or sign it and date it for me?
Sure.
This goes in my folder, and this gives me an acknowledgement that I went over the buyer's closing costs. Is this going to change? Yeah, what I done, 100%. It's always going to change, but at least you have a signed baseline of what you're going to be looking for. So Ken, we're going to get into the real estate process from A to Z, from when we're out there looking at properties till we get all the way to settlement. Do you have any questions before we start?
No, I mean, I've never done this before, so, you know.
Great. I'm going to walk you through everything. Now, when I do my buyer consult, you can ask Paul, you can ask anybody. I like to stand when I do it because I like to use my hands, but I'm going to try to do the best I can in my seat. So Ken, the first thing is when we go out looking at properties, this is probably going to be the longest time in between showings because I need to get a better feeling for what you're looking for. But the first thing is when you pull up to your house, you work a long day. You work a very hard day. One of the things that I can't show you pictures of is the outside of the house. I don't know anything about your neighbors. So what I want you to do is when you get up to that front door, I want you to do a 180. I want you to look at your neighbors to your left. I want you to look at your neighbors across the street. I want you to look at your neighbors to the right. Is this the area after a hard day's work where I want to pull up and say, yes, I'm home? Now, it really doesn't matter too much the condition of your house on the inside. I mean, even though you want moved in condition, but you can do that on your own time. Your neighbors, you can't tell them to take in their trash cans. You can't tell them to clean up their yard. You can't tell them to shut your yapping dog up. So this is why I want you to look at your neighbors and look at where you're going to live. Once you're okay with that, you go inside the house. Now we have a set routine set up where what we're going to do is we're going to start upstairs and then we're going to work down to the main level and then we're going to go into the basement. Is that okay? Perfect. Okay, great. So mental note, guys, don't forget your questions. Don't forget your 5 questions. Don't forget the buyer consult with the prospect. What should you be focusing on when you're showing them properties?
Everything that they wanted.
Right. You want to
on their wish list.
Right, on their wish list. What are the 3 most important things on the inside of the house that they have? What are the 3 most important things on the outside they have? Focus on the reasons why they're here looking at the house. So when you're out there looking at the properties, let's say that, hey, we're in the main bedroom right now. Mike, this bedroom's not going to work. Oh, why isn't it going to work? It's too small. It's 9 by 9. I need something at least 11 by 11. I got a lot of furniture. Okay, great. So you're making these notations, and whatever notations you're making, guess what? You're going to go back into your prospect account and update it. So what you're going to be looking for is, and try to keep your mouth shut as much as the time. You want them to speak as most as possible. Ask them how they feel about the product. Is this room going to work? So Ken, let's walk through this. So we're in the main bedroom. All right, Ken. So this is the main bedroom. It has a walk-in closet. It's got new wall-to-wall carpet. It's got a ceiling fan, and it's also got a main bath. How would this bedroom work for you?
I like it as a ceiling fan. I like, because my wife likes the fan on a lot.
Awesome. That's awesome. Okay. So this size would work for you.
Yes.
Great. Let's go take a look at the other two rooms. Most likely they're going to be your children's rooms, and let me know how you feel.
Walking.
Great. So the other most common area up there is the bathroom. So when we go into the bathroom, he's looking at the space. How do you feel about the space?
I think this space is pretty good.
Awesome, awesome. So then when you go downstairs, unless they are focusing on their living room and dining room, you're basically going to breeze through them. You're going to be in there for a little while, but most likely you're going to end up in the kitchen. Kitchen is where a lot of people spend most of their time. So let's say we go into the kitchen. Ken, this kitchen has granite countertops. It has cabinets that go all the way up to the ceiling. It has recessed lighting. They're including all the appliances. They're stainless steel, and we have ceramic tile flooring. Will this kitchen work for you?
Yeah, for now. I mean, a couple of years I can do some updating, but
If you did any updates, what would you do?
I like the granite with the hardwood floor type look.
Okay, good, perfect. So you like hardwood floor too. Now, if he were to say something important, I might want to note that and put that in the prospect account. But hardwood floor is important too, because what's the one thing you really don't want to see in a kitchen? Carpeting, which you do see sometimes, but it does happen. So while I'm in the kitchen, if there is a walkout deck or a walkout entrance to the rear yard, I'm going out there next. Even though the basement is important, I want to try to keep the flow going. So we go outside. Ken, this is a big backyard. Looked like the fence is about maybe 10 years, but you got some privacy. You got a shed. You got an above ground pool and a little bit of a fire pit and a patio. How do you feel?
I like it. Ingram, the pool's nice and everything. It's good. This will work for me and my family.
Now, you also want to sound that like that you're the expert. So when you're out back, if you can see the roof, back up. You're going to be able to judge how old the roof or how well care a roof has been, whether it has barnacles on it or whether it looks new. You're also looking at the flashing. If you see anything that's out of sort, you might want to bring it to their attention. So this way, hey, Ken, when the home inspector comes out, I want you to remind me that if we do like this property, tell him to look at the chimney cap. It looks like it's loose or it's off, and the flashing looks like it's popping over there. So I'll make sure I make note of that. And I really don't like the granules, the stain that I see over there. I want to make sure that the sun's hitting it. It looks like there's a couple barnacles over there too. So we're definitely going to have the home inspector concentrate on the roof. All right. So you have any questions about the backyard, Ken?
No, it looks good so far. I mean, the pool's nice, and if you think the roof's looking pretty good, then that's good for the. It's definitely going to get inspections, but that's good to know.
Yeah, the most important thing is he's going to be on the roof. He's going to check the integrity of it, but he's also going to go in the attic to see if there's any moisture up there to make sure it's not leaking into the attic upstairs. All right, let's go downstairs. Now downstairs, you're going to be looking at the mechanicals. So when I take Ken down, when we're going downstairs, all right, Ken, so it looks like they have they're either going to have a cinder block wall or a cement wall. Jack, you know what the difference is, right?
Cinder block wall or cement?
Yep.
In the basement?
Yep.
Mm,
All right. So a cement wall is what a cement wall is. It's when builders take the extra time and use a cement wall. It's usually about 3 feet thick, 2 to 3 feet thick, and solid concrete. Also, builders like to keep the expenses down, and they have what's called a cinder block. So a cinder block basically looks like, I'm going to show you the top part of it. So a cinder block basically looks like this. Okay, all this is concrete except for these circles or holes. And on a wall, it actually looks like this.
Like Legos.
Like Legos, exactly. It's going to look like something like this. And you're going to see with the mortar in there and all that other stuff. So you can replace them, but what happens is when water hits that, it can break through, it can make it crumbly, but it can wear faster than a cement wall. Does it
Oh.
make a huge difference? No, but you need to be able to explain that to the buyer if he asks you, hey, what's better, a cement wall or a cinder block wall? Big difference in price,
Mhm.
but
The cement's better, right?
what's that?
The cement would be better, right?
Cement wall is going to
Yeah.
be better, a lot
I
better.
don't think I've ever even seen the other style, the concrete
Cinder block?
or cinder block. Yeah, yeah,
I've seen them.
yeah.
Yeah, just take a look at your walls next time. If you see the lines going through them, like
Yeah.
a step. Yep. that's
Okay.
So when we're in the basement, I'm also going to be looking at the furnace, the hot water heater, if there's a central air blower down there. I'm also checking for moisture. Now, I don't have a moisture reader or anything like that, but you've been in wet basements before, you can at least get an idea. And also you want to look at the bottom of the walls to see if there's any past staining, flooding staining, and to see if the house has any sump pumps or French drains. Does everybody know what a French drain system is?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, perfect. Sump pump, everybody
Yes.
knows what a sump pump is?
Yes,
All right, great. Everybody knows where to find the dates of the hot water heater and the heater?
yeah.
All right, so
Nope.
these are all the things that you're gonna be doing when you're down there. Again, you want them to talk as much as possible. So we're down here. So Ken, what do you think about the basement? It looks like there's the heaters down here. Everything's blocked off. It's finished. It's got carpeting down here. You got a drop ceiling. So this way, in case you want to run some electric, you got access there. It's pretty big enough for a TV and a couch down here. I'm surprised it's like all pretty open. What do you think?
I'm pretty good. Like, what do you think about that heater? How's that looking to you?
So the heater looks about 5 to 10 years. So, but I'm gonna defer that to the home inspector. I'm gonna let him test it because he's gonna fire it up. He's gonna check the burners, and he's gonna make sure that every part of the house has heat that's supposed to be delivered to. And then I'm gonna, defer to him on his results on. But for me, it looks pretty good. I mean, it looks like it was updated within the last couple of years. And then there's options too, in case he finds anything. We can ask the seller to fix them, repair them, or you can ask for a home warranty.
Okay.
So again, Ken asked a great question. You want to be Johnny on the spot with the options. You don't have to give recommendations unless you really think you have to, but your job is to make sure that all their questions are answered and they have the options that they need.
Yeah, real quick, Mike, on that. The reason I kind of asked is because I always tell people too, when I talk to other agents, is the number one thing is if you don't know, you don't know. So don't lie. Like, oh, that heater looks great. It's brand new. And then inspector goes and looks and says, oh, it's from 1975. Then they're not going to believe anything you say anymore. So that's something I always tell people, like, how's that heater look? I'd be like, well, let's look if there's a date on it. If it looks suspect, if you can't tell, but if it's brand new, you're going to know. But you know what I mean? Like, that's why I posted that photo yesterday. Are we good with that central air conditioning unit? I don't know if you guys saw it, but it legit looked like it was from like 1965. And they're like, oh, central air works great. I'm like, there's no fucking way.
Yeah, that's,
but let's
that's
go back
crazy.
So let's go back to that. So you're going to see that a lot with oil heat. The reason why an oil heater lasts longer than a gas heater is because it's maintained every single year. They're out there looking at it. It's part of the package that comes with the oil heater. So, and the delivery system. So, but let's say, Ken, the 1950s or the 1970s AC unit that you have out there. But when you're in the basement, you see that there's all new ductwork, all new tape. Everything's redone. I mean, it's sparkling. What's going through your mind?
That they took care of it. It's well maintained.
It's probably well maintained and it was probably certified a little while ago. So even though the unit, yes, is probably like 50 years of age, but somebody came in here and serviced this.
One quick second.
Now, on that note, without asking the right question, let's say this should be a question that you for the listing agent. Feel free to call the listing agent at your showing if you need information. Nobody knows this property better besides the seller than the listing agent. So let's just say, Ken, you called me. Hey, the AC unit looks like it's from the Brady Bunch, but there's all these repairs down there. Can you give me a little bit more info? So you're going to call me on that.
Hey, Mike, I just talked to the agent. Could you give me a little more info about the heater and the area? I'm looking over the report here.
Yeah, I've been getting a phone call. So yes, the AC unit is original, but the guy who lives there is an engineer, and he's not all about paying like $6,000-7,000 for a whole new unit if everything else is working. So he had the central air company come out. They're a local company. They're actually right down the street, and they've been maintaining the AC probably now for the last 10 years, but they came out and they recommended all new ductwork, blowing system. The thermostat was all changed, but everything else seems to be intact. And Bryant AC, who put all that stuff in there, they provided a 1-year warranty on it.
Oh, that's good. I like the warranty concept.
Yeah, but they've been servicing it for the last 10 years. So Jack, let me ask you this question. If you would have went in and saw the old AC and maybe see some repairs, but you didn't make that phone call, how do you think you're leaving that house? How do you think your buyer's leaving that house?
Well, they probably would just feel unsure. I mean, they'd be like,
Unsure.
well, he's unsure, so that makes us unsure. So it just kind of, it's probably a little uncomfortable, right?
Exactly. So that's why when you have a judgment call, you can either text the agent
Mhm.
and find out what's going on, or if it's
Yeah,
a question,
I would say that too. Like I'd be like, oh, you know what? Well, let me text the agent. Let's see what they come back with. So
And-
just give them some kind of communication, you know what I mean? So you're not just like, we'll see what happens. You know, you're
now
just,
this is also a problem for the listing agent because they didn't
Mhm.
do their job. If there was something, if I knew for a fact that I was listing a house that had the Brady's Bunch central air unit, but I knew it was certified and it's good for a year and they just did some upgrades, why wouldn't I put that in the seller's disclosure? Why wouldn't I have a flyer for when they came out and they could see the upgrades that we did? Or before the showing, I'm sending this out to the agents who are showing. This is why we're above the curve. Like when we have houses like that, that have upgrades like that or need full descriptions, that's why we send it out there. And good agents will do that instead of us having to, hey, let me call the listing agent and see what's going on. Okay, great. So we're showing the house. Let's say, Ken, you like the property. Okay. I have one rule when we're out there looking at properties. The one rule I have is when you're in the house, you do not say, this is it, Mike, I'll pay them whatever they want. Okay. Because my negotiating skills go down the toilet because 9 times out of 10, these homes have listing devices, Siri, Alexa, Echo, Dot, whatever they are. They listen. Sellers are liars. They listen. They listen to every conversation that, is going on in their house because they want to know what's going on.
I point them out all the time too, ever since, a while back.
All right, Ken. So we're coming out of the property. You really like the property and you want to put an offer in. Right off the bat, I'm reaching out to Mike. I'm reaching out to Devin or Maria. I'm letting them know that we really like the property. In the meantime, I'm texting the agent, let them know that I'm interested in case I need to get anything. Mike's running the comps. Devin is getting the seller's disclosure and they're preparing the paperwork. You have the option of coming into the office and doing the agreement of sale, or we can do everything online. You can sign DocuSign wise. Any questions on that? Okay. When we get our offer package together, it's going to consist of all the real estate paperwork that we need. We're going to have your pre-approval. We're going to have your mortgage officer reach out to the listing agent and to sell them on you. And Maria is going to be contacting you in reference to a buyer flyer. She might ask you for a couple pictures and she's going to ask you a little bio about yourself. So this way the seller, instead of looking at the offer and seeing numbers, now they can see a family of 3, family of 4, whatever. So now there's a face behind the offer. The seller does not have to take your offer just because you're the highest. They can like somebody else's offer. They could have a buyer flyer and they decide that, hey, you did. I like this family better. We're not saying which is right, which is wrong, but I'm just telling you what is happening and how the people are making their judgment calls on, getting their offers accepted. But once your offer is accepted, now there's going to be times where we're not going to be in immediate contact with you, but every day there's something going on with your offer. Once we get it accepted, it's got to go to the title company. It's got to go to the mortgage company. It goes to the buyers. It goes to the sellers. It goes to the agents. And we're all processing this agreement of sale. You have 5 days to get us a certified check for the deposit that's made payable to the listing agent's office. After that, even before that's going on, Devin is scheduling your home inspection. Ken, have you ever been on a home inspection before?
Nope.
All right. Have you been to the doctor's office?
Yeah, I try not to go, but yeah, I've been there.
I hear you. So as you can tell by my physique, I am in great condition. So, but I go to the doctor's once a year for a physical. Now, right before I get into that front door, getting into the office, I feel great. But when I leave, I feel like a used car. You know why? Because he's, checking my blood, he's checking my triglycerides, he's looking at my cholesterol. He's like, put down the red meat and eat a salad once in a while. He's not there to scare you, just like the home inspector is not there to scare you. But he's there to check to tell you what's going good, what's fair, and what's poor and defective. Same thing with the home inspector. He wants to let you know the dishwasher, the heater, the roof, it's all good to go. You're great. But you know what? That hot water heater, usually there's a life expectancy of 16, maybe 20 years, 18 to 20 years. This one's about 15 years. But you know what, Ken? I'm not seeing any rust. I'm not seeing any leaking. I'm getting hot water through the house. You might want to budget for a new hot water heater in the next 5 years. Same thing with the doctor. If you're borderline diabetic, he's going to tell you, yo, back off on the sweets, or we're going to have to do something about it. So then you come to the poor and defective items. Let's say your electrical panel, it's got double tap circuits and you need a whole new panel. It's the same thing with the doctor. Say your cholesterol is skyrocketing. He's going to put you on meds. Okay. Who is the only person that can overrule a home inspector?
A licensed qualified person in that exact field.
Roofer, electrical, stuff like that. That is the only person that can overrule a home inspector. Same thing with the doctor. Your doctor's a general doctor. He can't do cardiology. He might understand cardiology, but if something comes back like a dysrhythmia, he's going to recommend you to a cardiologist. Same thing with the home inspector. If he sees something unsure about the roof, the heating, the electrical, he's going to call for a cert. And that's where these guys come in. They're either going to back the seller. No, I see what the home inspector is looking at, but it's actually correct. Or they're going to say, nope, yep, that's got to get fixed. We got to get that fixed before I certify it. So bottom line is the home inspector is not there to scare you. He's basically there to give you a full diagnostic of the house, good, fair, and poor and defective. Now, does that mean we can ask for anything in these reports? No. You're only supposed to ask for the most important things, okay? We understand that you're not buying a money pit, but at the same time, you are not buying a new construction house. This house was constructed in 1945. It's going to have some wear and tear. If we see normal things like cracking driveways, cracking sidewalks, these are things that we can't ask for. Now, if the township comes out and says, hey, if you're selling this property, you got to fix it, okay, that's on them. But we're basing our offer on what we see. Now, if there's something that we see, put it in the offer. Like if you see something where the gutter's falling down, and the special clauses section here is, we're offering you this. We understand you have a gutter issue. We're not going to ask you for that, but that's in the offer. We're taking that off. Or you're going to say, I want to give you full price, but I want in the condition, I want the gutter system fixed. That's something that we are going to ask for. So these are things that, get your offer a little bit more solidified and getting it done. So this way, there's no surprises during the home inspection. So when the home inspection comes back, let's say he has 5 things. Let's say 3 of them are important: roof, HVAC, electrical. But the other 2 are minor: garbage disposal and something going on with the deck. Well, you're a contractor. You're okay with that. But here's the deal. I want those 3 things fixed. My job as a negotiator is not only am I going to get you those 3 things fixed, but I'm also going to get you credit for the other 2. The reason for this is because even when you're buying a car, there's a give and take. I want 10, we're going to give you 8, and you go back and forth. So if I hit them with these 3 things, these are what I want done, and I also want $1,000 credit for the other 2. Mike, $1,000 too much. I'll give you the 3 things, and we'll give you $500. Okay, great. My buyer just wanted the 3 things fixed. Now I got him an extra 500. That's where your negotiating skills come in. Now, then you go into the other inspections. We're not going to get into well and all that other stuff. That's for another day. But the 2 other most common ones are termites. Do you know how termites work?
I just know they destroy wood and stuff. I don't really know how they work.
They live underground.
Okay, so Ken, when you go to the food store, when you get your food and put it in a cart, do you eat it there?
Only when no one's looking.
There you go. Get the chips, right? Get that munchie going on.
Nah, I take it all home.
But the same thing with the termites. They don't live in your house. Everybody thinks they do. No, they live underground. They're subterranean. So they'll go to the market, grab the wood, bring it back down. Now, when they travel, they create these mud tubulars. And that's what the inspector actually looks for, because I guess 6 times out of 10, they don't actually see live insects. When they do, they know it's pretty bad. But what they see is the tubulars. They see the rotted wood. It's brittle, but they can also see those tubulars. So they mark it down and they say, okay, you need a termite treatment. So the termite guy comes out, he blasts the underground with some chemical. Now what he's supposed to do, and that's why we always ask for the graph, he's supposed to go to that location and wipe those mud tubulars. If he doesn't, it still only benefits the buyer, because let's say they bought the house in January, they had it treated, guy never wiped the mud tubulars out. June, they decide they want to sell the house. Jack, you decide to buy the property. You get a termite. Paul, you're the inspector. You come out there. You don't see any insects, but you see tubulars. What are you doing?
Well, I definitely would have to make some phone calls and be like, hey, you told me, you disclosed to me that everything was good to go. And now I'm looking at it and I need treatment.
Right. So you get this back from the listing agent. You're the seller. And I'm like, wait a minute, we just had this treated. So I'm going to call Terminex. Hey, Terminex, you were out here January. They're saying we have termites again. Well, you're under warranty. We'll come out and do another treatment. That's why termite treatment companies always give a year warranty, because a lot of these people are inept and they're lazy and they don't do what they're supposed to do. So they'll come out and give you another treatment. Now, radon mitigation. Let's say they do a test. Oh, and by the way, when your radon or your termite comes back positive, unless you waive the inspections, the seller has to do the mitigation on both of them. Have to. It's in the contract. Do you know what radon gas is, Ken?
No, not really. I know it's bad for you.
All right. So it is bad for you. It's actually a cancer-causing agent, but it's not like immediate. It happens over 8 to 10 years. So what it is, it's an odorless, colorless, and tasteless gas that comes through the concrete floor. But how it originates is that on the eastern coast of the United States, there's a huge buildup of uranium. It's miles, hundreds and thousands of miles down. But the thing is, it gives off a byproduct. And this byproduct goes through the soil, goes in the atmosphere, and we breathe it. It's a minor amount. But the issue is when you put concrete floors in for like basements, when builders put that floor in, well, now this byproduct has nowhere to go. And it just keeps vibrating and hitting and banging against it. Eventually it goes through the concrete and causes this colorless, creates this colorless, odorless, and tasteless gas. And it is cancerous. But it's not like you're going to be down there watching, Dateline, and all of a sudden you got cancer. Now, it happens over about 8 to 10 years, especially if you don't have any ventilation. So if you're in these Mayfair homes that are 60% below grade and only have those jalousie windows and you have no ventilation, that's a bad thing, especially if you test positive, if it registers high. If you have a basement that you have a walkout front, walkout back, or even some full windows, you're going to be fine. If you're on a ranch, you're going to be fine because you have the proper ventilation.
Okay, so
All
I guess I should get the inspection just in case.
I would get all three just to be on the safe side. So once we get the inspections back, if the report comes back a little negative, we're going to ask for the repairs done to be licensed contractors. Once that's done, your mortgage company is already working on your application. So you're going to sign off on the application. They're going to order the appraisal. When the appraiser goes out there, he is going to do a small inspection like the inspector. He's not going to get on the roof. He's just basically going to go inside, make sure it's habitable. But he's going to do the same thing I did when we were discussing price. So please keep in mind, if there's going to be a time where like, hey, Ken, we're going a little high here, we might have an appraisal issue. You got to remember that conversation, because unless something's changed in the market, the appraiser is going to see that too. But if I seem very confident, then don't worry about an appraisal issue. Now, the appraisal can hurt us in 2 ways. If the value comes in less, most likely the seller's going to have to come down. That's going to benefit you. But let's say he comes back with some repairs. What repairs can an appraiser come back with? Minor ones of chipping paint and repainting them, a handrail, GFI outlet, or a roofing cert. The seller has to do these, but there are 1% chances that the seller says, hey, you know what, this is as is, we don't have any money, you have to do the repairs. I never really recommended my buyers do repairs unless the house is theirs, but at the end of the day, it's going to be your call. But in general, the appraisal will appraise and there'll be no repairs, and then we move on to the next step, which is the mortgage commitment. This is where the underwriter who works 13 floors below grade has no windows, has a blinking light, and is looking at your documents. So we have to make sure all our chicks are in a row. Once he gives us the approval, then we have a mortgage commitment and we get our title report back. Once the title report comes back, within a week of settlement, Devin will be reaching out to you, letting you know what utility companies to reach out to and what to expect during your walkthrough. I'll be calling you the day before or 2 days before our walkthrough to schedule our walkthrough. When we get there, we're going to be looking for any damage the movers might have done. Make sure the house is cleaned out. Whatever you decided that you wanted in the agreement of sale, any inclusions is left behind. Everything's in working order. Once you're okay with the property and sign off on it, we take the lockbox off. And then tomorrow we go to settlement. Now let's say, Ken, there was something wrong and they forgot to leave a refrigerator. I know that's common with you, but or there's a damage. I'll go back the day after and take a picture or a video. So this way you're not inconvenienced, or you can meet me at the property. Now, once you're at settlement, the traditional way of doing settlement is the sellers on one side, buyers on the other, agents on either side, title company at the front of the desk, and the mortgage company's there. Well, because of COVID, it's now at the discretion of the title company on who comes to settlement. So sometimes don't be surprised if it's only you and the title company. Either way, I will be close. I will be in the parking lot or somewhere nearby in case you do need me. The mortgage company is going to tell you 3 days in advance on how much money to bring. I'm going to let you know who to make it payable to. Once you're at the table, you're going to be signing a lot of documents that goes back to the mortgage company. Once they give funding approval, the wire is now released from the title company. The sellers get their proceed money. You get the keys to the house. Everybody shakes hands and you're in debt for the rest of your life.
Sounds amazing.
Do you have any questions?
No.
All right, great. And boom, that's your buyer consult, guys.
All
That's it
right.
in a nutshell. We started at 12:30 and went 2 hours.
Then I'll text you an hour later and ask you something.
Or no, we started at 1, so an hour and a half, 90 minutes. So, and I broke it in. I even did some, side notes and stuff like that. But your buyer consult should go anywhere from 45 minutes to 90 minutes every time. If it doesn't, you're missing something. All right, guys. Any questions on that? All right, I'm done. Peace out. You coming in, or am I just going to meet you at the property, Jack?
How far? Like, yeah, I was gonna say, like, are you coming back to the office after the?
Yeah.
Oh, you are. All right. Well, maybe I'll meet you at the office then.
All right, sounds good.
Later, guys.
All right.
See you, Ken.